morning class, welcome back to your online class. So today we will we will head towards the last chapter from biology, that is chapter 3, kingdom classification. Okay, so as we know that earth is a house for millions of organisms, okay, varieties of organism, like about 30 million varieties of different animals, plants and all other different organisms are present on the earth, which are very different from one another. Okay, so scientists, in order to study them, they came up with the approach of grouping the animals or organisms on the basis of similar characteristics. Now that is referred to as classification. Okay, so that we could study what was the advantage of classification. The advantage was we could study them properly. Okay, depending upon instead of going individually, by going through the groups we could understand their characteristics. Okay, and we could understand how the organisms have evolved from a simpler form to the complex form. And even if new organisms appear, then how depending upon their characteristic we could categorize them into certain groups. So all this was possible. The systemic study of different organisms on the earth was possible because of the classification. Okay, now there are few scientists who have a crucial role to play while classifying the different organisms. Okay, now first comes Aristotle was the one who first came up with the classification of animals. Okay, now depending upon what kind of covering do they have, whether the hair was present on the body or not, on the basis of that Aristotle came up with the classification of animals. Then his student Theophrastus, he classified the plants. Okay, even till then the proper categories of grouping could not be possible. Then came the scientist Linnaeus, who categorized all the living organisms present on the earth into two main kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia. Okay, all the plants were placed on the Plantae and all the animals were placed on the Animalia. So he came up with two kingdom classification. Okay, but the drawback about this two kingdom classification was organisms like Euglena, virus did not fit into either plants nor into Animalia. Okay, and they did not have any group. Since Euglena, they have chloroplast in them, but they do not have cell wall, so they could not be placed into Plantae, right? Similar animal, virus, they only after they enter the host they become living, right? Outside the host they are non-living, so they did not find any category. Then the scientist named Thomas Whitaker came up with the 5 kingdom classification. All the organisms on the earth were placed into these 5 kingdoms. Okay, so he came up with 5 kingdom classification. So those 5 kingdoms were Monera, Protista, then you have fungi, then you have Plantae and Animalia. Okay, so this Thomas Whitaker came up with this 5 kingdom classification. So in this chapter we will be focusing on this 5 kingdom classification. We will be discussing about the characteristics of Monera, Protista, fungi, Plantae and Animalia in detail. Okay, now first let us go through the kingdom Monera. What are the characteristics of organisms which fall under the kingdom Monera? Let us go through the characteristics of Monera. Okay, now if you go through the characteristics of Monera, they are all unicellular organism. That means they are single celled. Okay, and they are prokaryotic. What does prokaryotic means? They do not have defined nucleus. Okay, whatever the genetic material that is present within that organism is scattered in cytoplasm, and just like plants, they have cell wall. Okay, now mode of nutrition in case of Monera can be both autotrophic as well as heterotrophic. Some of them follow autotrophic, okay, and some of them are, most of them are heterotrophic. Now example of Monera is bacteria. So we know where are bacteria present. You can imagine, you can think of any place around the world. Okay, let that be hot springs or glacier, soil, air, everywhere you will find bacteria. Okay, now bacteria on the basis of shape, they can be classified into following types: cocci, bacilli, spirilla and vibrios. Okay, now coming to cocci, cocci means they are spherical shaped bacteria. Singular, one spherical shaped bacteria is referred to as cocci. If you have two spherical shaped bacteria together, it is referred to as diplococci. Okay, and if you have a chain of cocci like this, then it is referred to as streptococci. Okay, and the bunch, if it forms a bunch like a bunch of grapes, then it is referred to as staphylococci. Okay, now in case of bacilli, they are rod shaped bacteria. Rod shaped bacteria is referred to as bacilli. Similarly, two rod shaped bacteria together, diplobacilli, then you have streptobacilli and staphylobacilli. Now when you come to the spirilla, it is a spiral shaped bacteria. Spiral shaped bacteria is referred to as spirilla, and vibrios, comma shaped bacteria is referred to as vibrios. Okay, so this is on the basis of on the basis of the shape. Okay, now if you go through the structure of a bacteria, then let us think of a rod shaped bacteria. Okay, now rod shaped bacteria, they have cell wall. Okay, and since they are prokaryotic, that means their genetic material is simply scattered in the cytoplasm. Okay, and for movement or for obtaining food, they have whip like structure referred to as flagella. This is referred to as flagella. It helps in movement as well as in obtaining of food. And some of the bacteria, they even have a small hair-like projection all over. It is referred to as cilia. This hair-like projection is referred to as cilia. Now, some bacteria, in order to survive under adverse condition, okay, outside the cell wall, they form one more layer, which is referred to as capsule. This is referred to as capsule. It helps them to survive within in a adverse condition, and once the condition is favorable, again the capsule is removed and they start reproducing. Okay, they remain in a dormant stage while the condition outside is not favorable for them. Okay, now coming to the harmful and useful role of bacteria. First, coming to the useful role, we all know, right, that bacteria, they help in making of the curd. Let me give you an example. Lactobacillus. Okay, lactobacillus help in conversion of the milk into curd. They also help in preparation of cheese, preparation of vinegar. Okay, bacteria are used in tanning of leather, retting of fibers. Okay, these are the useful role of bacteria. Now, if you come to the harmful role, we all know it is responsible for causing different type of diseases, like commonly found diseases are tuberculosis, cholera. These are the diseases which are caused by bacteria. Okay, so that's all. You have to go through the kingdom Monera. You will go through the characteristic, and taking the example of bacteria, you will be discussing about the classification on the basis of its shape, harmful and useful role of bacteria, and structure in brief. Okay. Now coming to the kingdom Protista. Coming first to the characteristics, they are also unicellular, that means single celled. Okay, but protists are eukaryotic, that means they have defined nucleus. Okay, and protists, they are responsible for, they are capable of performing all the life processes like respiration, excretion, nutrition within a single cell. Okay. And now example of protist is your amoeba and paramecium. Now taking amoeba as a example, we will be discussing in detail about what kind of how do they carry out the nutrition, or how what is the structure of amoeba like, okay, in detail. Taking amoeba as an example of protist, let us go through the few how do they carry out the few life processes within them. Okay. Now if you look at the structure of amoeba, you can look at the structure. It's a irregular shaped. Okay, forming a feet like structure around, that's why it is referred to as, this feet like structure is referred to as pseudopodia. Pseudo means false, podia means feet, false feet. Okay. Now coming to the nutrition, okay, this amoeba generally they are heterotrophic, that means they depend upon the other organisms for the food. So with the help of pseudopodia, they surround the food particles, okay, that can be either the same protist or any materials found in the aquatic systems, because these amoeba are generally present in fresh water. Okay, so they will surround with the help of pseudopodia, okay, and then engulf it, forming a food vacuole. And inside the food vacuole there is a presence of different enzymes which help in breaking down those food particles. Okay. Now coming to the excretion, for excretion purpose they have a contractile vacuole. Whatever the waste material is present within a cytoplasm enters this contractile vacuole, and this contractile vacuole will come near this plasma membrane and burst open, thus releasing the waste material outside. Okay. Now respiration, for respiration they do not have particular organ for respiration. Simple, since they are single cells, so since water contains oxygen, so from water, from higher concentration the oxygen moves towards a lower concentration, okay, by a simple process of diffusion. Now coming to the reproduction, now amoeba reproduces either by binary fission. Binary fission means from a single parent two daughter cells are formed, or under an unfavorable condition when amoeba forms a cyst around it, then it divides with the help of multiple fission. Okay. So that's all about the amoeba. Now coming to the next kingdom, that is fungi. They are heterotrophic, that means they are dependent upon the other organism for food. They can be saprophytic, some of them are saprophytic, some of them are parasitic. Okay, saprophytic means they are dependent upon the dead organisms, and parasitic means they are dependent upon the living organism. Okay, generally they are non-motile or immovable. Okay, now size of a fungi can vary from a small macroscopic yeast. The only exception in case of fungi is yeast, it is a unicellular organism, to a large size mushroom. Okay. Now structure, coming to the structure of fungi, they are, like I told you, generally they are multicellular except your yeast. Okay. So how is the structure? They have a fine interwoven thread like structure like this. Now this network of thread like structure is referred to as mycelium, and individually if you consider this, then it is referred to as hyphae. Now with the help of this hyphae only, this fungus, they can penetrate the organism, living organism, and obtain nutrients from them. Okay. Now like plant, even fungi have cell wall now, but it is made up of chitin. Okay. Now coming to the example of a fungi, the most common example is your mold. Okay. Then you have mushroom also, which is a edible form of fungi. Okay. Now coming to the mold, they are generally saprophytic. Saprophytic means they are found in the sense, if you bring a bread and if you don't eat it for few days, after 1 week, what will you see? You will see those greenish color patches on the bread, right? So that's your mold. Okay, it is found. Same thing with the fruit also. If you bring it and if you do not consume it within a week, what happens to that fruit? It too will, you can see those greenish color patches appearing. Now if you just observe it under a microscope, you can see this thread like structure with the on it on the microscope. So that's your mycelium, or that's your mycelium of a mold. Okay. So they are generally saprophytic. So what does this mold do is, they appear on the fruit or any stale bread, and then what happens? Now since they have an enzyme which helps in dissolving of those food membrane or the food particles, and then just penetrating within it and taking the nutrients from them. Okay, so these molds can be both saprophytic as well as parasitic. Okay. Now other examples are mushroom, that the edible mushroom that we get, but we should not consume mushroom from anywhere. Okay, because some of the mushroom are even poisonous. Okay. Now coming to the useful role of the bacteria, since like I told you, in case of fungi, useful role of fungi, like I told you, your yeast is a unicellular organism, unicellular fungi, right? And one of the feature of a yeast is, all the different fungi, they undergo aerobic respiration. That means they respire in the presence of oxygen. But in case of yeast, they undergo anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration, and we know that, and the products after anaerobic respiration is ethanol, carbon dioxide, making it fit for alcohol beverage industry and for bakery purposes. Okay, and other than this, some of the mushroom fungi like mushroom are edible too, right? Now coming to the harmful role, there are certain diseases like animal athlete foot, which is caused in case of animals. Okay, and in case of plants like black patches occurring on the tomato or leaves, that's tomato blight, or potatoes. Okay, so those are the different diseases concerned with the fungus. Okay, that's a harmful role of a fungi. Okay, so and some of the, like I told you, mushroom from anywhere cannot be edible. Some of them are even poisonous, that can even lead to death. Okay, so that's all about fungi. So in our next class, we will be dealing in detail about kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia. Okay. So that's all for today's class. Just go through the video and then your book, refer your book, and it will be easier for you to understand. You have to at least go through 4 characteristics of each kingdom. Okay, 4 characteristics and examples of each one of those.